Hey everybody, Kensat Kunim, North Star Technology Group. Today I am pleased to have Angie Knoll, who is the founder of Reconciled Solutions. She provides accounting and advisory support to professional service business owners like North Star. She's our guidance. Um, but any of these professional service businesses that want to try to improve their profits, help improve efficiencies, and obviously make and build a sustainable business. She focuses on three primary dynamics: time saved through accurate financials, which is important, time well spent through financial education, always trying to learn and grow, and then time invested through strategic insight. Angie, I know that you and I always go back and forth about, our financial reports, the balance sheets and the P&Ls and, all of these different things, which of course, obviously is important. But I think a lot of peers like myself, there seems to be kind of a gap, right, between even having good, clean books, which is like one-on-one stuff, right? But then what do you do with those things, right? Like, how do you make decisions? How do you build systems? How do you kind of identify kind of where you want to go as a business? And I know you guys have been doing a lot of cool stuff with AI. I'd love to hear what you have going on, and I think our audience too would love to. But I just want to introduce Angie. Angie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Ken. I love working with MSPs and specifically with professional service-based businesses who are exchanging some game of money for time, right? Talent and skill for time and charging people for it. So we really go deep into that, probably because that's what my own business does, right? We're trying to do bookkeeping and accounting support, and then lead to the strategy. And Ken said it well in that there's a gap between, the books and what we understand and know and how to execute against that. And technology is really helping narrow that gap. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So I'll go for it then, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Go
Like
for it. All right.
I don't want to wait any longer. I've been waiting for this presentation for like 3 weeks now. Let's hear it.
Yes. All right. So here's the thing. We all agree AI is changing the scope of work as we know it, right? And there's some very common things that we're all adapting to. So one is the thought partner for documenting. So I think everybody in small business today is using some form of AI for documenting processes and employee handbooks, for doing blog posts and advertising, and for doing research and things like that. And those are all really good uses of AI. The other things that I see that have already been widely adapted in the world of AI is like in our personal lives, it helps with travel planning. Like we can figure out our vacation much better with AI. And the other
Mhm.
thing it helps with is fact checking ourselves and our annoying family members who might disagree with us, right? Like I just had a disagreement with my father-in-law over whether the Seattle Seahawks are really for sale or not. And, it was AI that I was fact checking against, right? And trying to get that put together.
So wait a second. Are they for sale or are they not for sale?
It doesn't seem like they're for sale.
Okay, I think that would be crazy. I don't know, Angie, if you're advancing slides. We're still in your title slide, if that what you meant. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can't agree more. People are I'm always using it to fact check and validate and verify, and it's kind of been a really important thought partner for me as well.
Yeah, it's a great thought partner. And really that's what we're developing at Reconciled Solutions, just thought partner on steroids is what I would say. So,
Mhm.
the like some applications in business where I really see it coming out would be in the healthcare industry with doctors using AI to help them diagnose and then again to chart and give the patient the follow-up, things like that. So that's a really great way AI has been in use. The first thing that I came up with several months ago, and Ken knows this, is probably about a year ago, is I wanted to use AI to double check if we had categorized our clients' transactions right. So we keep a vendor list, and then for each vendor, we like to put, oh, well, this is a payroll. This is a payroll for a general administrative person, things of that nature. And, we always have mistakes in there, and I want that to be accurate. So I thought, oh, is there a way that AI can can do that for me? And I haven't really uncovered it to 100% extent yet, although it is getting easier. We just had a client who started with reconciled solutions. And in the onboarding process, we often have a lot of catch up we have to do for clients. So in this particular case, there was about 2,000 transactions, and that's not unusual. That type of work would take us about 12 hours to do manually, to pull the transactions in from the bank feed and to categorize those. But we got that done in like 45 minutes with the use
Yeah.
of AI. So we cut a 12-hour job down to 45 minutes, which is fantastic. Now, I'm sure there's errors in there, and we have to continue to evolve and use AI to figure out how we're going to uncover the errors. So, one thing that I would say in small business is just that for everything that we're doing, I would like to make sure that we're doing it within the software we're already purchasing. So, one thing
Mhm.
about small business owners is that we don't have a lot of financial resources, typically not deep pockets like some of our big vendors and products that we're using have. So
Yeah.
my suggestion is just to lean on your main vendors to try to develop their AI as we go forward and find implementation within the office. So here's what, excuse me, here's what we're trying to do for our clients. AI, we're trying to help our clients understand the story of their financials, the story that it tells. And the first thing that they come to us for is bookkeeping. That's going to lead them to time saved. So my thought, and I think it's a little bit counterintuitive, but as I thought about it more, I realized that AI is replacing the strategy side of my business faster than the bookkeeping and accounting side of my business. Because as I was talking about, that 45-minute job that used to be a 12-hour job, there's going to be errors in there. And I have to figure out the nuances of how AI can close the gap on those errors. But what AI is doing super well right now is being that thought partner. And I've been in business for 20 years. And that being said, I kind of know like I know the systems that I use and the processes that I use to help my clients improve their business acumen. Okay. And that being said, AI being my thought partner, super powerful because I can really hone in on the things that I want to hone in a much faster, more direct path. So it's harnessing that ideation power of AI into our new framework that really helps. So what I hear my clients, and this is kind of that disconnect that Ken was talking about, what I hear my clients, wanting to know about their businesses, where am I at today? Am I making money or not? And I know that 87% of small businesses in America today are not making money. So that being said, like, being able to answer that one question and understand that for people, that's a huge deal. And, just answering other questions like, where's my business going? What's my plan? How can I make this business run easier, simpler, more profitable? And what milestones must we hit to get there? So, clean books are not the finish line. And in fact, they are our starting line. So, the very first thing that we do with our clients is to get them clean books. But it is literally just the starting line. That's the promise that we're delivering on. And if we can solve for that, that would be the time saved part of the equation, then the client will keep us around a little bit longer. And the things that we can do to continue to have the client keep us around is around time well invested. So there's a disconnect between being able to read your financial reports and understand the story that it's trying to tell you and just the financial acumen you might have. You might not have ever taken double entry accounting class and have clarity on how to read a profit and loss and balance sheet. So the clean books is just the start of our job. We want to get those clean books before a client leaves us. Or should I say, we want to get the clean books out the door first so that we can continue the conversation. And the clean books and the understanding your financials, all of that is a part. It can be a systems problem. It doesn't necessarily have to be a people problem. I have excellent staff on my team, but what I find is Ken's our client, and Chris might talk to Ken and have a conversation with him and learn some things about him that I don't know. And Kitty will do the same, and I will have a conversation. The bookkeeper isn't in any of these conversations, so they don't know what was discussed. And there is just this huge gap in terms of centralized intelligence. And so that's what we're able to close the gap on with the use of AI. So, systems. So, information lives in the wrong places. I've spent 20 years in business, as I said, and one thing is for sure, getting the systems right, having the information in the right place at the right time is very difficult. And we just have spent years opening this spreadsheet and that spreadsheet and transferring information and moving it around and where did I put that and searching through old emails and all of those very common things that we all face, right? Now, with the introduction of AI, less of that is occurring, right? We are able to mine the gap and put sales, onboarding, accounting, and strategy into one narrative. And the important context does not get lost between different people because we're all updating in the same place. So, what happens when we don't have these systems in place, like we have been operating, is our clients sometimes get asked the same question twice, and that's annoying. They don't like that at all. So when that happens, repetitive questions erode trust and they produce friction. Um, so that's kind of where where we have pain points, and that's where we end up losing clients or losing their trust. So I don't, the conversations aren't going to stop. Our sales conversations aren't going to stop. Our strategy conversations aren't going to stop. Our onboarding conversations aren't going to stop. They're all going to continue to be a part of the journey because we're making it a narrative, right? And so by using the power of AI to consolidate the team intelligence into a unified hub, then we're absolutely able to grab all those stages in the client journey. So what you learn about the customer, the potential customer at that stage in the sales process, then transfers over to the onboarding process. So you're not missing any gaps there. And once you've onboarded a client, basically for us, what onboarding means in the accounting world is that we're going to have clean financials for you by the end of that onboarding. We're going to have those processes drawn out so that that profit and loss looks it reads like something that will tell the story of your business, right? And the balance sheet, you're going to understand what that is. Then we move into ongoing accounting and support. And that's where, we're just doing the day-to-day work and the client is like, oh, phew, such a relief. You're saving us 15 hours a month, Angie, with your services. Great. But that only lasts for a short time. Like they're only going to enjoy that for a short time because after that, they're going to be like, Well, they figured all this out. We got all the rubs and the concerns taken care of. So now what? Well, what's next now is strategy discussions and the ability to stay connected. And we have to understand where they are in the milestone tracker. And we use AI to do all of those things. So it's not guesswork for us. So we came up with a 4-layer client hub, and we start at the bottom because, you start at the beginning. People don't know what they don't know, right? So for us, that works very well with accounting and strategy. So at the beginning, when we are able to close a new sale and get the client in the door, we're going to give the client an RS-based needs assessment. They'll take that needs assessment. It's maybe a 15-minute test for them. They'll answer some questions about their business. From there, we're going to create this client info hub. And that's all kind of those basic pieces of information. Which bank do you bank at? Which credit cards do you use? You have a loan? Oh, is there a personal loan? It's understanding your assets, liabilities, equity, how much is in payroll, all of those different things. All of that information gets consolidated into this client info hub. So then from there, we move up to the strategy hub where we're starting to understand. Now I understand the structure. Now I understand that you're in the growth phase of business, or you're still in the startup phase of business, or you're scaling down and you want to get out of this thing, right? So understanding within the context of having good, clean financials, what is the next step strategically? And based on where you want to go. In layer 3, it's the milestone tracker. So we are literally tracking, is the end game, you're going to sell this thing? Are you going to sell that thing in 20 years? Or are you going to sell it in 2 years? That's a different set of financials that we're going to put together and different questions that we're going to ask. And then the final layer and the top layer is the financial narrative. And the financial narrative is used for that next conversation. Maybe you want to start a new product line and you need infrastructure and you need a great big loan to get it. You're going to have the financial narrative to be able to do that. Maybe you want to sell the business. Maybe you want to bring on a partner. Maybe you want to pay off some debt. All of those things require this nice picture so that information can easily connect to the next step, the next layer in business. So our client info hub is the place where we're gathering information from both the attraction and conversion stage of lead development and then through the onboarding stage. So it's a centralized client data system that is AI powered. And so the multiple conversations that we're having with the client through the lead stage, through the onboarding is captured in that place. And it eliminates the duplication of questions and missing history because we can use AI by plugging in emails, plugging in recaps that we've sent, plugging in like the Fathom recording, the AI recording transcript of what we discussed, and plugging in the last tax return and all of those different things that are going to allow us to draw a better and more bright and colorful picture of the story of this business. From there, it's layer 2 of that's the strategy hub. And our strategy hub is rooted in the development of 6 pillars. So we've already kind of talked about strategy and execution, but there's the whole sales and marketing side of things. And how are we going to market? What methods are we trying? What is it attracting? What is it putting out? What do we need to tweak to get more or less or more highly qualified leads, right? Then it's the finance and profitability, right? You have to understand where your finance and profitability is headed and where you want it to head. Is it headed in the direction that you want it to go? There's systems and automations. So that's talking about how does all these different little tools talk to each other, right? How is that information getting back to the same place and making everybody's job repeatable and easy? There's teams and synergy. If there's one thing I know of running a business for 20 years, probably the hardest thing is having employees and managing employees, managing people. It's the hardest thing in my job. So understanding that and building systems around it is extremely important. And finally, there's mindset. So I don't know if any of you have ever been overworking 80 hours, 90 hours, 100 hours a week, but I know I have. And guess what happens? Burnout, right? And so it's this whole like, I cannot live my life. I should just go be a greeter at Walmart, given how hard I'm working.
Tempting. It's tempting, Angie. Yeah. Only every other week.
Only every other week, only every other minute, right? Depends upon the temperature of, what's in your inbox at that moment, right? So, working with mindset is something that we're always looking at in terms of where our customer is sitting and what type of lifestyle sustainability do they have in their business. So, that's layer two. And there's two important things that happen in layer two. One is understanding where the established business life cycle is entering. So where is my client entering on this life cycle? So there's the startup phase, there's the growth phase, and there's the maturity phase. And I want to understand, where are you entering in? What were the milestones that got you to this part of it? And where do you want to head? So that goes back to the very first questions that we asked in the first slide. These are the things that keep us up at night as business owners, right? Then over here on the right side of the screen, you're going to see this. This is called the Business Priority Pyramid. It's from Mike Michalowicz's book called Fix This Next. And the Business Priority Pyramid is basically this continuum of what has to happen first in your business. At the base layer of the business is sales. We have to have sales to have a business. Okay, so that's the creation of cash. And then we have to have profit, which is the creation of stability. And then we have to have order, which is the creation of efficiency. So those are all get things you can see on the side. And then the top two are give things, which is leaving an impact and leaving a legacy behind you. I will tell you at Reconciled Solutions, we're focused on the get. Our clients have problems in sales, profit, and order, right? And we're trying to continually identify what's the broken link and what are we going to do to fix it. And it's usually somewhere in those three spots, okay? So that's what that strategy hub is about. So then the milestone tracker layer, again, we're looking at this reverse cycle. So we meet the client where they're at when they enter into our business, right? They could be somebody that's been in business for 30 years and just wants to get things cleaned up so they can get the heck out and retire. Okay, they could be somebody that has grand ideas and they want to start things up and really build. They could be somebody that's more wants a smaller business, right? They want to really maintain that lifestyle and a good balance between their personal life and their business life. And so they're just looking for us to take some of the weight off the heavy lifting of the time commitment it takes to do the financials and the decision making. They need a thought partner to help them make better decisions. So that's what we're doing in that 4-layer client hub is we are working on the reverse spiral and trying to identify what we need to work on next to get them to their next milestone. So the milestones are all along there. There could be a milestone that's about mindset in there. There could be a milestone that's about finance and profitability, or one that's about sales and marketing. There are milestones within each of those pillars of business, and it's our job to help continually identify and work the client through those steps. So last is that financial narrative tracker. And we talked about some of the things that comes out of a financial narrative tracker. It's a CFO level deliverable for our lenders, for mergers and acquisitions, for succession planning, and things of that nature, for selling. Okay, so that's really, it's the end game, right? It's what is my end game here? So strategy unfolds as the story is told. And with the use of AI, that all comes together ever so much easier because it's all in one place. And we're taking the consolidated efforts of my entire team to record their conversations, to record the main points of that conversation, to feed that information into AI so AI can then pull out the most important and critical spaces. And given that I follow uh, a set of strategies, like we talked about, Fix This Next from Mike Michalowicz. Profitability is a big one of mine. I'm a profit first professional. I mentioned on one of the other slides the Roger Dooley book called Friction. People don't do business with us if we're too hard to do business with, if there's too much friction. And that being said, like these are the things that unfold, and I can just plug into AI that these are the principles that I follow. AI becomes my thought partner, and I can self check against AI to say, have I covered the Roger Dooley principles? Have I covered the Mike Michalowicz principles? And really, have I covered the things that Chris talked to the client about? Have I covered the things that Kitty talked to the client about, right? Have I married all of that together? So this helps with retention. That's the end game, right? Our promise to clients, we talked about it, is time saved, right? We want to save you time by taking over the day-to-day bookkeeping and accounting framework of your business. Time well spent means that what you see in your financials resonates with what you feel in your gut, right? Like, oh my God, I spent too much money. We all know that feeling, right? We also know the feeling of, oh, I managed that sale. Things seem to be going pretty smoothly. So, do my financials match what my gut is telling me? We want to make sure that those two are in alignment. And if they're not in alignment, it's likely because one, you either have bad accounting processes, or two, we don't have all the information to put it together. Okay. And then there's time invested, which is about the strategy side. It's about identifying the milestones, where you've been and where you're headed. And those are our three criteria. So what happens when we meet those three criteria in our AI Client Hub is that it eliminates duplicate information requests. We are eliminating disconnected systems and handoffs. We are eliminating lost context between sales, onboarding, and accounting people. And strategy that lives only in people's heads is now in writing, and it can be reviewed by every part of the team. So this is where we're able to evolve from bookkeeping to strategic advisor. And I don't care how long AI is out there, it's never going to be our best buddy, right? Relationship is still, we have to have relationship in our life. It's a core component of who we are as humans, to have relationship. And the relationship between a financial advisor and a business owner can be very close. I go to my clients' weddings and funerals and everything in between, right? So that evolves throughout the framework of this. And guess what? It makes us harder to replace because retention is built in. Okay. So how it works in plain English, and this is where if there's any questions, I can help with those, but we collect the data once and only once. We store it in the right place. We give access to the right people. We let AI do the hard work of summarizing and updating the client's evolving story. That story is always evolving. And we track milestones to keep the momentum going and, more importantly, accountability. Because you need somebody tapping you on the shoulder saying, but I thought you were going to launch that new website by May, and now we're in September and you haven't launched the new website yet. So that's how it all comes together. And we call it our AI strategy hub, and it's got 4 layers.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna open it up for questions. Looks like we have a couple coming in. So the AI summary of the client's evolving story, right? Like obviously as someone that runs a tech company, AI is a big deal. We work with you. Is this something that any business could do for their customers? Is this a repeatable thing that, like I got I don't know, a plumber or something that has a lot of customers. That's maybe not a good example, but other service businesses that are trying and have the same problems is something that they could build themselves too.
Yeah, for everybody. I think every small business owner has to maintain information about their client base.
Mhm.
And so your questions are different from the questions that we're asking at Reconciled Solutions. But, if you think of North Star Technology Group, you want to know what platform they're running on. You want to know how old the network is. You want to know what you're using for a connection, and you want to know all of those different pieces that help. Do you have security guarding your stuff?
Mhm.
That's all questions that have to be answered by the client in the onboarding process, has to be referred back to. And I tell you what, as your company grows, it gets harder and harder to figure out, where does this information belong? Where does that information belong? So
Yeah,
this AI friend really is a friend, it helps us bring it all together.
awesome. Um, So I got a couple questions here. First of all, um, regarding that human in the loop, right? So we often talk about risk and readiness of introducing AI in organizations, simply because there's critical data and we're trying to make sure that we build those guardrails that you mentioned. Do you guys have a process where you are checking back and reviewing, the data that the AI is summarizing, or do you spend a lot of time doing that, or how does that human in the loop fit in for you guys, if at all?
Yeah, so right now, like we talked about the 12-hour job that went down to 45 minutes.
Hmm.
That's going to require a lot of checking on our
Yeah.
part. The strategy is less difficult. That's why I think AI will replace strategy long
Hmm.
before it will ever replace bookkeeping, just
Yeah.
because I've already taught my superbot what I want. I've
Mhm.
already taught my superbot my values.
Yeah.
And so that value system is already established. And yes, we read through it, but it doesn't require a lot of checks and balances.
Right.
Um, it does require some.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an amazing story of the 12-hour down to 45 minutes, right? Because these are the use cases, right, that we are really, really trying to, I guess, shout from the mountaintops when it comes to AI and AI adoption. Obviously, you need to plan accordingly and prepare and make sure you're ready for this. But that's an amazing example, right? And even if you have to spend, 3 hours checking your work, you're still saving 9.
Yeah.
So, um, uh, how about your team, right? So like we always have challenges, even we're a tech company, right? And even within a tech company, we have varying levels of comfortability, varying levels of experience, knowledge, right? When it comes to introducing AI into maybe a very well established process and workflow. Tell me about how you introduced this to your team. How did you make people feel comfortable with that? How did you go about training and going through that? Because it takes a little bit of a different mindset. Like some people are like, I am all in with AI, and others are, I don't want to end up like the Terminator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it depends upon your role within the company and how you're using it. So for us, we've got a host of bookkeepers, and our bookkeepers, their
Mhm.
responsibilities are to get those financials right, to make sure the profit and loss looks right, make sure the balance sheet looks right. At this time, they spend less time with strategy. That's more like our leadership role. So the strategy is more reliant upon our leaders, and we have to choose our leaders very carefully.
Mhm.
So I would say, for the most part, my base level layer of bookkeepers, they're doing a phenomenal job with technology in general. And I've hired people that are one tech savvy, but also energized by learning it. And so I think um, the you know things that appear will become better and better. Like the discoveries. That's what I'm trying to say. I was
Yeah.
missing that word. The
Mhm.
discoveries will become better and better. And to that end, I developed a new role within the company, and we call it the product champion. So what I had said earlier is, like, we work with some large vendors like Intuit QuickBooks, right? Like Gusto Payroll. Well, Intuit QuickBooks, Gusto Payroll, Bill.com, all of them, have deeper pockets than Reconciled Solutions. They also have more technology. And I've really instructed my team that it's your job as the product champion to know the things that those guys are coming out with and to really help them adapt it and tool it so that we can use it on the day to day to improve your jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really powerful. So our product champions, then it aligns. So we have one person that's a product champion for payroll product Gusto. That's our partner there. One for QuickBooks Online and one for Bill.com, which those are the three big areas that I see right now.
And are these product champions, is that responsibility part of an existing FTE's job, or are these solely individual where that is their primary responsibilities, managing the vendors and the tech?
No, it is part of their existing responsibilities. So it gives them an opportunity to showcase their skills
Yeah.
and develop their skills further, for further development within the company.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's something that we're building up. We call it centralized services, but essentially it's the same thing, right? Where we have somebody responsible for the various technology stack. We call it our stack, right? It's our vendors, our tools that we use to deliver our service. So it could be our patch management, our vulnerability. It could be our endpoint detection, our security operations center is having that role, having that responsibility to know the total capabilities. And I love what you said earlier, Angie, about a really good strategy for people that are trying to implement AI into their business is not to go find another tool. It's to look at the vendors of the tools that they already use and find out and understand what AI capability is being developed within those tool set. I think that is a super, super important point for everybody that's on. Um, because same thing. I mean, we use a lot of the same tools, and certainly there's a lot of stuff that we're implementing within large language models that have nothing to do with our software, but all of our vendors are implementing AI to some degree. And I think that that's a really, 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 really good tip. Um, uh, I
I
want to
think
go
that's
back a little bit to hiring. You mentioned obviously how leadership is important, right? And AI is, a big part of the strategy part, which is a little bit different role and responsibility within your firm. Tell me about what you look for when you're hiring new people. Have you hired new people since started to move into AI? And what are you looking for, or how are you asking or identifying people that are innovation and AI friendly when you hire?
So I've made all the possible hiring mistakes in the universe, I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't, yeah, I'm pretty sure you haven't made them all. That award goes over here.
I've done a lot of training on, how to hire the best. And that's a book that I recommend. It's called How to Hire the Best, right? That would be one of my platforms that I use to kind of build strategy on for our clients. Um, so, um, when I'm looking at hiring, and I'm hiring right now, I'm hiring for like 10 to 20-hour client success manager. Okay, so I'm not going to be the best paying job out on the market. I'm pretty sure if you go get a job at 3M, they're going to pay you more money, right? But, we have benefits too over here. We have work from home and we have unlimited time off, and we have all these other things going on, and we're passionate about the work and we're fun. So, what I do is not necessarily, well, I would say that people that are not tech savvy and not willing to explore are going to be weeded out in my hiring process. So we have a set of 5 immutable laws. They're hanging on the wall beside me here. Number one, nice people only, no jerks allowed. Number two, work hard, play hard. Number three is when interacting with each other, we act with compassion first and the heart of a teacher. Number four is do what you say and say what you do. And number five is we take responsibility for our own actions. And I tell you what, if they can't demonstrate those 5 principles in the process of the hiring, they are out. It is a hard cut. And I would say, like, specifically, um, if they've got a big ego, they're going to struggle with acting with compassion first and the heart of a teacher. And that also would be a tech friendly one, right? Like we're going to identify that they're not tech friendly, that they're closed minded in that process.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the big challenge, and obviously things are really moving fast, right? You mentioned, of course, how you're going through this process, you're building up this client hub, but you're utilizing AI to aggregate all of the information that you are gathering from multiple people, multiple sources, and using AI to provide an intelligent summary that you can use as a thought partner as you kind of go through your stages with your customers. Um, but you mentioned, everything's not perfect yet, right? And that I keep reiterating with people that I'm having these conversations with, because everybody wants to see some sort of result with this, right? And they want to see it yesterday. And things are changing so fast, right? Technology changes, tools change. I want to talk to you a little bit about, and you don't need to go into the under the hood, of what you're using as far as technology, unless you want to. How do you pick, what AI tools to use? Obviously vendors that have AI, you pick those. I get that, and that makes sense. But how do you go through that process of selecting the technology, especially when it comes to AI? Every week, it seems, right, there's a new best tool out there, conversation, right? It's so changing so fast. How do you go through evaluating what is good, what is bad, and that whole process to help your business?
Yeah, so for as long as I've been in business, like Outlook was the basis of my email.
Mm.
So Microsoft Outlook. So then that lended itself to other Microsoft products, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft um, Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So from the very beginning, that's been the cornerstone of the business. And so when I'm evaluating technology, it's got to talk well to Microsoft. It has to play in that sandbox. So that would be the first thing that I look for. And the second thing I look for is just talking to other people within my industry about what tools they're using and what's made their life easier. So I spend a lot of time within my professional associations identifying and having those conversations and investing in those conversations and talking tools and what works for you and what doesn't. Oh, I tried that. It was awful. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the third thing is price, right? We have to look at price. Right now, we're in the process of cleaning up our contacts list in efforts to move to a different CRM tool. And in doing so, when we move to that different CRM tool, we'll be eliminating three pieces of software in exchange for one. So it's met the criteria there, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Are you seeing, I mean, you mentioned, working with your associations. Are you seeing a lot of people in the accounting and finance and strategy space starting to embrace AI? Is that a topic of a lot of, because of course, every organization that, industry that we're working with and all the trade shows and all of it is all buzzing over this. And again, I saw this meme that was kind of, I think encompasses it. It was a split screen and it had a large venue, right, that was basically completely empty. A couple people, and it said people actually building and using AI. And then the other side of the screen was super, super crowded, all these people, and it says people talking about AI, right? There's a lot of talk, not a lot of action. Are you seeing accounting firms or peers really starting to move in the space and take advantage?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hot topic. And
Yeah.
we're having important discussions about but how? We're having the
Yeah.
but how
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody knows it's like there's this potential out there, right? How do we make it work? And again, like I tell all of my customers and everybody that will listen to me, this is a, wild, wild west situation. All of the potential is there. Those organizations that do this the smart way, they address their risk, they address their readiness, then they build opportunity one workflow at a time, right? Are seeing a successful ROI. But let me ask you this: where do you think your business would be, or where do you think your business would go without AI as kind of this structural foundational piece for your thought leadership?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that I've thought about it. I mean, I think that we were onto it before, but AI just amplified and increased the velocity of the story. So
Yeah, speed, right?
we are
Yeah, I mean,
forward thinkers, and technology is key for us.
yep,
I have a virtual business. We're all sitting at our own desks in
yep.
different parts of the world.
Hmm.
So I think I would be headed in the same direction, just slower.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. That we are in very much a similar business model, right? Like we have hubs, of course, of customers with physical presence. We are a virtual company. We want to live, right, by our message that people can use technology to work anywhere and do anything, right? And so I completely agree with you on that. Um, One last question, unless others pop in. We've got a little bit of time. This has been great. So for somebody maybe just starting their own business, what are some AI either prompts or tools or methods that they could use to kind of make sense of their business, maybe even their books? And obviously, I want people that are really, really considering this to reach out and talk to Angie. She's got her contact information on the screen. But do you have any advice for people to kind of dip their toe into this a little bit with AI when it comes to their financial health?
Um,
Or you're like, you know what, stay out
say,
of it, like you're gonna just burn the house down. Like, and that's an acceptable answer too.
yeah. So what I would say is that, I love my books and my Audible, and I walk the dog with my Audible going. And so I'm always listening to a business book or a business podcast. And so I would say take your favorite thought leader that really resonates with you and build your AI bot to be on page with that thought leader or host of thought leaders. Maybe there's five of them, right?
Yeah.
Um, and just to take your business to the next level there, incorporating, because that's incorporating the mindset. And the mindset really is everything, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a great ending and segue. Uh, Angie, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. This was great. And again, for those of you that are attending and want to learn more or work with Angie to have a little bit better insight to buy back your time and invest it more properly, please reach out to Angie. Uh, and again, I'm always here as well to point people in the right direction when it comes to this. We have our AI growth and profit assessment that we use to review organizations' risk and readiness for AI. Whether you use Angie for your bookkeeping or you're doing this yourself, would love to talk. Angie, anything else you want to? Oh, yeah, perfect. So take a look at the chat. Angie's got a newsletter where she talks about life and love. Just kidding. I don't know what the newsletter is. Do you want to talk about what you typically talk about?
Yeah, I put the link to sign up for our newsletter there. That's how you join our community of entrepreneurs. And yeah, I'm just looking for people that want to talk about it. And I love talking business. As you can see, it makes me happy. It's my happy
Yeah,
place.
that's great. That's great. All right. Again, thank you, Angie. Appreciate your time. Everybody, thank you. We'll give you 5 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.